welcome to Travelling with Miss Daisy. Today we're talking about ground sheets. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of tarps. If they do have their places, and camping, putting them under the tent is not really the ideal one. I've been camping for years and I do a tent and a camper trailer, and I find I always have a ground sheet that goes underneath the tent or the camper trailer. If it's on grass, I never sort of worry too much, but if it's on other bits and pieces, look, it just protects your tent. I mean, you've spent a lot of money on investment on this, on your tent or your camper trailer or whatever you've got for a soft bottom. So you might as well spend the extra money and buy a ground sheet. But two choices. Okay, so you can buy a ground sheet. It's got the corner of it. Okay, it's reinforced on the top, and it's got little grommets to put your pegs in. Okay, it's actually see-through, as you can see through bits and pieces. It's just like a mesh. Okay, they never had these back in the day when I was camping with my kids. So we used to do shadecloth. Okay, shadecloth was a great idea you could do, and that's what I did. Exactly the same thing. Okay, this is just plain, but I had I'd sew make a bit of a casing with material around the whole edge of it, and I'd put grommets in it, because you can easily go to Bunnings and just buy them. Do a DIY kit. And then just use a hammer to attach them, and it just makes it easy. Put your pegs in. Okay, you don't want to look. Shadecloth used to be really cheap because there's all these different places that used to do it now, but now it's really expensive. I personally would not be putting a peg through my shadecloth. Okay, every time you put up the tent, it's in a different position. There's no such thing as one position for your tent, so I would not be bothered. I wouldn't do that. The great thing about having shadecloth is two things. Number one, if it's sandy, all the sand drops through. Okay, so less sweeping. It does keep all the leaves and the twigs out the road, so you can get a broom and just sweep them off. Number two, it gets the water away. The last thing you want is a swimming pool of water running in your tent or your camper trailer or whatever. It's bad enough when it rains or floods, unpredictably. So you want the water to go drip through. This is a great idea. It also gives it some area to breathe as well. It does sweat. I'm not going to say it's not going to be damp underneath, or there's going to be no condensation underneath. That's not true. You'll still have that as well, but it just keeps it clean and tidy. When you're packing away, at least you've got a clean tent. You're not trying to roll up a tent or pack up a camper trailer with a dirty floor. Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. So you can get that. Tarps. Okay, I have a tarp. I have a heavy duty tarp. So it is silver, one side, black on the other side. Okay, this is cut up. I've cut all the corners off it. Okay, tarps are great if your tent's really old and you want to tarp the top. I wouldn't do that, but I mean, you can use a tarp to go on the top of the tent. It's fine. Just remember one thing: do not let the tarp and the tent touch together, because you'll get condensation and it'll keep more moisture. To keep it breathing, you need to have the tarp above the top of the tent. Okay, so you get the air flowing through it, so it keeps it dry. Especially when it's raining in the winter time. Okay, so the tarp. If you bought yourself a cheap tent and you don't want to spend any more money, don't. Okay, just put it. I've got this tarp. It's an old tarp. I've cut all the edges off it, and I actually use it for the floor. So in my screen tent, the flooring is actually quite cheap, and we have tables and chairs and everything else in there, and other bits and pieces. I actually put this flooring in, so it actually protects the floor. I've had my screen tent for quite a few years now, and the floor is great. Normally it would have put a hole through by now, but it hasn't. This is I put this on the floor. It's all protected. I put the black surface up so no one knows it's another piece of tarp. You don't trip over it because it actually fits to the tent. So if you're using a stretcher bed, in your tent, or you've got a large tent and you're putting chairs and tables and everything else, and the floor is you can feel the floor. It's actually not a very thick tarp. I would actually tarp inside the floor. I would actually tarp inside the tent and protect it. Why buy an extra tent if you don't need to? For the top, I would do a fly. Okay. Sorry, not very organised. Okay, so I would use a fly. Okay, I've made a bag for it. Okay, this one, it can be anything. It's actually, what it is, you can actually buy this sheet. It's a sheeting material, it's like a tarp, but it's not, it's fly. So the stuff that goes on top of your tent, this is what the material is made out of. And it's the same size as you buy normal tarps. it's a fashion thing. Sometimes you can get it readily available, and some things you can't. I don't quite know how. I've had mine for years, and it's great. The good thing about it is when the wind blows, it doesn't flap like a tarp. You don't have that noise. It's waterproof. It goes up and it rolls up really quick and easy. It dries really quick and easy, and it's soft. Okay. They've got little different ends. This one's got a soft one. I've also got a grommet on as well. I buy some cheap rope. Probably should have burnt the end on that one, but never mind. You can buy these little hooks. So I love these, and I just put extra bits of rope on, and then they've all got ropes on every corner, so that when I need to use it, I pull it all out, I do it. I only use it for winter time. It keeps my top of my tent drier than what it needs to be. Being winter time as well, it also gives it a bit more extra warmth, which is really lovely as well. So that's the best way I would say. So I wouldn't use a tarp as inside for the top or for underneath. If you want to use a tarp, I would use a tarp inside the tent if your floor is cheap. And if you've got a cheap thin floor, that's what I would do to protect it. Use an extra fly to go on top. It also gives you make it a lot bigger size, so that gives you a bit more room, like a veranda section. So that will give you keep you warm as well as dry. I would use the shade cloth to go underneath your tent to keep the sand and the wetness away from your tent. Okay then, so there's another great outdoor ideas for you. Thank you for watching.